G'day and welcome to the Sports Geek Podcast, episode 29. On today's episode, we talk about the super awesome micro project and how we launched a video that got 1 million YouTube hits in under 2 days.
Welcome to the Sports Geek Podcast, the podcast built for the sports digital marketer. And now, here's your host, who's checking the podcast download stats right now, Sean Callanan.
Thanks, DJ Joel. I'm not actually checking the podcast stats today. We have hit over 10,000 downloads, so thank you very much. But today I've been checking the YouTube stats, and as I'm recording this, we are inching closer to the 1 million views, and I'm absolutely positive as soon as you are listening, and when you are listening to this, or even before I even publish this podcast, or even by the time I finish this sentence, we will hit 1 million YouTube views. Super Awesome Micro Project is a project that I've been a part of as a patron and helped run the digital strategy and the website and design. It's a project where we helped a teenage kid from Romania build a full-size car out of Lego. I won't explain it. I will get the founder of the project, Steve Sammartino, to explain it in my discussion on halftime, and then later on we'll talk to author Trevor Young, the author of Micro Domination, about PR in the world and how it's affected the Super Awesome Micro Project. But first, here is my discussion on halftime with Kevin Hillier and Steve Sammartino.
Sean is in the studio. He's in the house.
G'day, Kev. How you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good.
Now, you're going to tell us about something that is just truly amazing. I've just had a look at it, and it blew my socks off.
Yeah, four words. Super Awesome Micro Project.
Right.
And if you check out either the Halftime Twitter feed, Halftime SCN, or Halftime on Facebook, you will see a video of a full-size Lego car driving down the street.
It's quite remarkable. And when you say full size, there's a bloke sitting in it.
It's a bloke sitting. It's built like
Driving
a hot rod. It's got mag wheels, and I'm lucky to be part of it. A mate of mine, Steve Sammartino, was one of the guys that founded it and sort of said, he knew this, and this is a strange. It's an international thing. He knew this kid, this teenager in Romania, who's actually a teenage genius who wanted to build a full-size car out of Lego, like mad type of, what an idea, what a dream. And he hit up Steve for some money to do it, to say, come on, how do we do it? How do we get this project going? And so Steve sent out a tweet and said, who wants to be part of this project? Who wants to help out? Let's see if we can get this up off the ground.
And Steve's actually on the line joining us right now. How are you, Steve?
Hello, Kev. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's the most remarkable thing. Now, give us that. You can jump on, obviously, to our Twitter, but if the 4 words are
SuperAwesomeMicroProject.com. If you pull over, don't do it while you're driving.
Yeah, no.
Have a look. It's on YouTube. Just Steve, I was just talking about your relationship with Rao and do you want to tell us? 80 weeks it's taken 80 weeks to build. You want to give us a bit of background on Super Awesome Micro Project?
Yeah, well, it's funny because Raoul's an internet stalker. And he found me on the web. We had connected over blogging and various things. And a stranger from Romania asking you for money from a foreign country. Normally people say no, but I just thought I might say yes. Right. So I did that. And he was a bit of a tech genius. He'd already built a jet engine. We put a Lego space shuttle into space orbit about 18 months ago, and then we conceived this project. But it would be a little bit more expensive. So I thought, as much as I want to invest in some fun stuff, given it's not really a commercial project, I decided to crowdfund it and put it out on Twitter. And
so we had it's pretty much mainly from people in Melbourne. So 40 people who we knew each other from Twitter were like, "Yep, we'll help out." Rao spent time in the Samp cave building it. We had it shipped out. Do you want to tell us about what it was like opening up the container after it got here in Australia?
I've got to be honest, it was pretty disappointing because we opened the container and I was expecting to see this amazing Lego car, and what I saw was amazing amounts of Lego just piled up. So we pretty much had to rebuild the thing. So that's where having all these 40 patrons who are part of the project all come in, and we all had 18-hour shifts of labour, everyone rebuilding the car. It was good because we had a template to build it, but we had to do a lot of rebuilding. But that actually made the whole thing fun.
So Kerry, the producer, is a bit of a skeptic. She saw the video and she goes, "I don't believe it. I don't believe. How did it run?"
How can she not believe it? It's there.
I know. I'm a pretty trustworthy guy, but she doesn't. She trusts me, but she doesn't believe it. How does it run?
Well, it runs on air. So, and we say it runs on air because it sounds interesting and terrific, but it's really compressed air. So we have compressed air that goes in through plastic Lego tubes into some little pistons. It's got 4 radial engines with 256 pistons, and those pistons get pushed up and down by the air, which turns the drive shaft, goes into some gearing, and pushes the car forward.
Which you can see in the video. When you look at the video,
you look at the video, you see all the little pistons firing, and it was a moment of truth when we did the filming, because we'd built it, we'd seen the engine run, but it was a bit of, what were you feeling like, Steve, when we finally got it on the road and we're like, okay, we're ready to go?
Nervous. I was feeling like I'm one of those crazy guys that invest so much time and money into something silly that might not work, but it did work. I was also really scared too, because to have it powered by air, it's kind of dangerous in a way, because if we had pushed it too fast, the whole thing could have exploded and we all could have got impaled with tiny Lego pieces.
Yeah, there was a danger that we would go too fast and there'd be Lego pieces flying off like Mario Kart.
No, seriously, that's what we thought. We were a little bit scared. In fact, Sean and I were once doing a test at one point, and there was a big explosion when one of the tubes popped and Lego went flying everywhere around the shed, hitting the tin shed. It was a really scary moment. So I was really nervous that the thing wouldn't explode, and just relieved when it drove, because we had this promise, we'd worked on it, and it's kind of fulfilling to do something a bit crazy and see it work out.
So first of all, I guess it's an apology to any fathers out there who have bought their kid a Lego car. They're going to see this video and going to be terribly disappointed, Steve.
The benchmark's just been pushed up.
Well, you got to push. That's what the internet's all about. It's about connecting and raising benchmarks.
Super awesome micro project. That's we've had a few SMSs wanting to know. How fast can it go? Does it have like a little Lego speedometer?
It does have a little speedometer. You'll see that in the video. But look, we think that we know that it could push about 20 to 30 kilometres an hour, but it's obviously quite fragile. It's Lego pieces put together, so we just kind of drive it.
And most of the pieces are stuck together. That there is a few pieces that needed to be glued, but most of them are just clicked in.
Most of them are just Lego on Lego, put together in a designed fashion where they create some strength with each other. But we tend to not drive it fast just for safety reasons. But we've done the motor on its own outside of the car, and it pushes incredibly fast.
So what have you shown it to the people at Lego? Do they know it exists?
The global people at Lego knew about it. We showed them during the development process, and they helped us out get some special parts and pieces of Lego that were very hard to procure. So they're really helpful.
And it's only been out. We launched the video 2 hours 50 minutes ago. So expect more people. If you haven't seen it in your Facebook feed, we hope that you will. But go to superawesomemicroproject.com. Super Awesome Micro Project is the hashtag. You should see that on Twitter. It's currently trending in Melbourne because we've got all these patrons who are really proud of the project.
So what do you do with it now?
Well, we're looking for a new venue of it now.
Because I want to see it.
Where do we put it? That's the question. Do we put it in MoMA in New York? Do we put it in Fed Square? I don't know. It's actually in Melbourne. The car is in a secret location in Melbourne right now.
So we hope to have it.
The Bat Cave.
We hope the Samp Cave. We hope to have it. To show the people in Melbourne, whether it be in a museum or at Fed Square or something. Because it's an awesome car to see it in real life, and to see the engine go. It's just jaw dropping.
Well, it's jaw-dropping watching it on the video enough to see it in person. If you could see it working in person, that would be fantastic. Surely is Fed Square the best place?
Oh, well, bigger the better.
Don't know. Not sure. We're open to offers.
Why don't you do a lap for the Boxing Day test?
Oh, we could do a lap for the Boxing. That would be pretty awesome.
How would that be?
Yeah. We'll just get Pup in the drive it around.
Yeah, just or maybe to drive it out because it obviously it's not super.
That's not.
What's a weigh?
Oh, half a ton, was it?
It's a bit. It's maybe slightly over 500 kilos.
Well, you could take it out on the MCG. Plug has been out on there, so
maybe it's the new roller for the MCG. We just take the Lego car out.
Could you imagine?
The English don't matter anymore. They wouldn't care with the ashes, so maybe we do that.
Do a Lego roller for the MCG.
Exactly.
Just to
maybe Shebex can hook us up, and he's the voice of the MCG. Maybe we'll do a lap of the MCG.
That's an amazing project. How long did it actually take?
it was 18 months from conception until launching now. About 3 months of planning and design work, and then a lot of iteration. Probably about 12 months of pure building, and a couple of months of rebuilding when it came to Melbourne. So,
and then we did all the website and the video and got it all ready for the internets.
Yeah.
And so it's
about 18 months all up. But look, it was complex because we're dealing with an incredibly clever kid who lives in Romania, Raul. But just working with him and the ability to organise logistics and ship parts and get money to him so he can buy various components was a really complex project. But in a way, it was complex on purpose because the complexities and what we did, none of this was possible 10 years ago. I mean, blogging and Twitter, none of that was even possible 10 years ago. The payment methods we used and transferring money on PayPal and other various web tools that we used, using Google to share documents and all sorts of stuff. So none of this was actually possible 10 years ago, and that's what makes the project amazing. It's almost like Lego is the byproduct. It's just really an example that we've used to show what's possible with social-based technology and how people in different parts across the world can collaborate.
So we'll hopefully
and do amazing things.
Hopefully, we'll see it maybe on the starting grid at the Formula One in March.
I don't think we'll win the race. But
hey,
look,
it'll look great.
To be a starter in the Grand Prix. That's
No, we're going to do the wacky races and have the Lego one, the Meccano one next to it, the clay one next to that. Steve, if you had to put a dollar value on it.
Gee, I don't know.
We're waiting for Jay Leno because he loves his hot rods.
Yeah,
if he wants to make an offer, we're more than willing to drive it over to LA and take it onto the set of The Tonight Show.
That's one of the great curiosities is what do people think it's worth? I mean, we know that we've put a lot of
blood, sweat and tears
and all of that into it, but I'm not really sure where we go from here. So we'll just have to wait and see what people think, really.
Oh, well, judging by what I've seen on the video, it's just that's amazing. It is. It's awe-inspiring. Super awesome micro project.
Sign up for Sports Geek News at sportsgeekhq.com/sign up now.
Yeah, so it was really good to chat to Steve there on halftime. And yeah, you can go to superawesosemicroproject.com to check out the video and connect with Steve at Sammartino or Rao Wider. Check the links in the show notes to connect with the two guys behind it and also the patrons, the 40 patrons, which I'm one of. And I've sort of been driving the digital strategy, the website build and the social strategy, as well as reaching out. And so I wanted to reach out to one of the patrons who helped with the PR and the social strategy as well, Trevor Young, who wrote the book Micro Domination. I had a quick chat to him while we were watching the YouTube views go up on the response from the social media community, the press at large, and how PR has changed with things like Twitter, Facebook, and how journalism has changed. I've got a very special guest and a fellow super awesome micro project patron and a good mate of mine, Trevor Young, the author of Micro Domination and also known on the internet as the PR Warrior. Trev, welcome to the Sports Geek podcast.
Thank you, Sean. It's an auspicious occasion with the super awesome micro project that still rolls off. I don't know how many times you've probably said it in the last couple of days.
It is. It's very long, and it is a bit of an effort to always put the Super Awesome Micro Project hashtag and to type out superawesomemicroproject.com. But I do think Steve, I make sure I say Steve every now and again because people keep calling him Sam. Steve Sammartino, the long name has stuck. Like it does make it memorable. And earlier we were just speaking with Steve on SEN, and we got off the radio, and Jim Stewart, a good friend of ours and one of the blokes on Business Blokes, called me up and said 200 people, as soon as I put the call to action on SEN, went to the site. And that was in the first 2.5 hours. I think we launched it 2.5 hours before I was on SEN, and here we are a little bit over 28 hours later, and the video is at 267,000 views on YouTube. So it's been a real roller coaster ride. And I wanted to chat to you about, what you can learn from the Super Awesome Micro Project and what you've learnt as in that micro domination space and how you can use the media.
Yeah, Sean, there's a couple of things that I've found really interesting. I guess often that you see these things that go viral, and I'm a bit of an anti-viral. You can create the viral video and stuff like that, and 99 times out of 100 it doesn't work, but because it's the people who make it viral. But we just, right from the day one, everyone just thought this was an awesome project, and a really good idea will carry.
Yeah.
And it's not a PR stunt or anything. A genuinely good, authentic idea that people like and find really cool. Chances are, if it gets some traction, then it'll carry. And I suppose good being on the inside of this one and seeing that from the inside and how it's been done. From a traditional PR perspective, if this was a few years back, we'd give a media outlet you'd have a photo call and you'd call in the TV cameras, or maybe give the Herald Sun newspaper an exclusive photograph and all of that. And that's how we used to do things day in, day out. And today, we did a video, we put it up. Obviously, there's a network around Steve Sammartino and the whole project, and where we in turn are all connected, and that gave it a bit of juice early. And obviously, being on SEN is media coverage is excellent as well. So it really is the combination of all these, I guess, micro interactions online and this ripple effect that it's getting.
Yeah, one of the things, I think I completely agree. I think the key thing, and I've done a few podcasts on viral content, and when we're working in sports, you would love to have a viral video, and you would have had that brief, make a viral video, and it's near impossible. And one of the things I try to teach the sports teams is just to be ready when you do have viral content. So I've had sports clients like the Perth Wildcats, where Nick Natanui has turned up and done a dunk at half time. So for the people listening outside of Australia, Nick Natanui is an AFL footballer, and he's gone and done a dunk just getting up out of his courtside seat. The Perth Wildcats caught that on video, put it up on YouTube, and obviously it went viral. So you've got to, have the process to go, wow, that's going viral. We want to leverage it, and you can do things like link back to your own properties and put ticket offers on that video. This one was different in that we truly wanted it to go viral, and I think it's the key. For me, the two key things are the first two words of the project. It had to be super, and it had to be awesome. Like a lot was invested in the idea. Is a terrific idea, and again, everyone should know it by now. We've already had the interview with Steve, but a car built out of Lego, it just it blows people's mind when you show it.
It's got a great talk factor too.
Yeah, exactly.
You see a lot of, and there's a lot of articles. I've been sort of not getting a lot of work done today because I keep going on and finding out who's. We're in the Daily Mail in the UK and the Daily Mail, I think, in the New York and Gizmodo.
And I wanted to ask you, being from the more PR and the news space, and I see it with the sports space, it's been really interesting to see how news has reported it. Like we set up a page, and if you go to superawesommicroproject.com/about, we set up a page where it gave enough information for media outlets to pick it up. We gave them some pictures from our friend Josh Rowe, took a lot of pictures and gave them some little factoids. And I've been really interested to see, how many news organisations have just taken that content and gone, yes, we're good with that. And they've written an article. So Gizmodo were the first, whereas others have been contacting Steve and doing follow-up interviews. So, and then the other hassle is, who wants to steal the content and the rights protection. But I found it a really interesting case study. The culture of the internet now makes it first is best. So they're really being really lean in taking that content and putting it up quickly to be the first to break it.
Well, if you just put it up, just breaking the actual story, and this is what it looks like, then you can if you are first out with that, that's great. But from that point on, you need a different point of view, a different perspective on it. And that's if they interview him and they interview Steve, or just can take another angle to it. That's what readers expect, because they can find the basics just about anywhere.
Yeah, and I think, and I'd like your take on it, because you've really been at the forefront of understanding the social space from a PR point of view. But I think I've been pretty much one that's driving the digital of the site and helped the site build, and we really crafted all the share buttons to make it easy to share the content, and also made sure it shared the hashtag and mentioned Sammartino and Raul as their Twitter handles. But what we've also done is use social media to reach the media.
Yes.
I as an example, I sent a message to Charlie Pickering, who was at my Twitter brekkie last year, just to say, hey, have a look at this. And I sent it to him yesterday, just after we launched it, not expecting him to go, yep, I'm going to go with it. But yeah, what is it now? 20 hours later, the project have finally sent out a tweet, and there's every chance that Steve will be on the project tomorrow. But it's sort of you've got to build those relationships up online and in the space, and the really savvy operators are using Twitter to find out what the latest trends are.
Well, they are, and I think the whole notion of PR is it's public relations, it's relationships with people, and it always has been. And it's just now that you might not pick up a phone to get to a journalist or a blogger or a media person. I mean, everyone's a journalist somewhere along the line. It's that being able to ping them on Twitter and get their attention that way. And I know there's some people out there with 10, 12, 15,000 followers on Twitter. Often they've got a global audience. You just need one other person to pick that up from who are influential, and it can go off in all different directions. And I've pinged a couple of bloggers who will definitely take a different take on it as well. The take that I like on it is the fact that it's how one person put out a tweet and could seed fund, at least get the project going. There was 40, as you've called them, patrons or champions who put money in, and that was as a result of one tweet from Steve Sammartino, and that to me is a lot of trust. Some people didn't even know him or had never met him.
Yeah, that's the thing. We did go through that. There were people. We turned up for the over 80 weeks ago for the first SAMP meeting, and there were people turning up for the first time going, do you know what this is? and we all put in $500. Some knew, some just trusted Steve and built up that trust. But yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster ride. From opening up the crate and seeing the pieces are broken to getting it up and running and on the road. And it's only been more of a roller coaster ride since. Like, it's been absolutely fascinating watching how Twitter has picked it up, how Facebook, has driven a lot of traffic. I do think, and I think it's going to be a really big year, 2014, for Google Plus and YouTube. Like, the amount of traction and interaction that we're getting because now Google Plus has tied into YouTube comments.
Yep.
There is a lot of virality to that. Like, the fact that people are commenting with their actual real faces, real avatars. I think, the stronger that YouTube ties with Google Plus and vice versa, I think Google Plus will be a big winner out of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I've been really interested in looking. So I looked at the Gizmodo article just before, and it's probably jumped up again, a couple of thousand, but it was about 13,000 likes on Facebook. And I don't think we can underestimate the power of that. Oh. And we that's going to, that's not an instant thing. That'll happen as people check their feeds and start seeing it, and then they have put a like or a comment or a share. And I think we're just kicking off. I've got no idea how many views this video will get and where this ends up, but that was a couple of reasons for joining in. Was a mate had a great idea and he was enthusiastic about it, and you've got to support those things. But the second one is, it's really interesting to see what will come of this.
Yep.
And also to be on the inside and follow the journey of as it unfolds, as to try and do a little bit of a case study. I know I'm going to have to keep Googling for the next couple of days. And follow that. Well, there's hashtag, there's Lego, there's everything we're following.
Yeah, exactly. And Google Alerts keeps popping up. But yeah, I mean, we are doing this podcast in the midst of Super Awesome Micro Project. I'm definitely going to be breaking it down as far as what worked, what didn't, and especially the way to actually, one, reach the media and get that extra coverage if you have got something.
That kicks it along again.
Kicks it along, and, fingers crossed, I've made a connection with Sam Laird at Mashable over time. He does a lot of the stuff around sports, and hopefully, Steve's in the process of writing back an email and hopefully be on Mashable tomorrow. But, we made some big targets of we want to be on Mashable, we want to be on Wired. Gizmodo was great to pick it up early, even if they did get the conversion of kilometres to miles per hour incorrect and said the car went a little bit faster. But, hey, we're not going to correct them. People believe things on the internet. So, yeah, it's been an amazing ride. And so I will have... I guess one more thing I just wanted to say, because it was advice that I've given both Steve and Rao, and we've mentioned him on the podcast before, Gary V, with his latest book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. I said to Steve and Rao yesterday, I said, what you have to do tonight is you have to go back and like and comment and favourite every person that said, what an awesome car. And Steve at least said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be blowing my own trumpet. And I said, well, you're not really. You're being humble and you're saying thanks, and it'll come back tenfold. And
it will. It certainly will, and that's obviously that's the Gary Vaynerchuk style as well. He's big on even though he's massively popular, he still finds time to get out and acknowledge where he can, and I think it's a good strategy. And I was just looking before about, you were talking about the media and how they've picked it up as well, the more traditional media, and how it started, small with people tweeting and Facebook and all of that and Google Plus, and then a couple of the bigger hybrids, I call them, they're sort of halfway between traditional and a blogger, pick up on it, and then that kicks off a stack of others, and then the traditional media pick it up, and then that reaches an outer audience again.
Yep.
And so it's just going to keep ricocheting, I think, around that. So I think the boys are going to be kept busy with their interaction and their engagement with their burgeoning online communities.
Well, we're waiting, hopefully, for the first a tweet from the Pope, because Jim Stewart's been keeping an eye on all the analytics, and apparently we had a hit from Vatican City, so it must have been the Pope who's already checked out the car. So we're thinking about building a Lego Pope-mobile potentially is maybe the next project.
Well, that'll be double super awesome, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Thank you very much, Trev, for joining me on the podcast, and look forward to see where this thing ends up.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
Check out which teams work with Sports Geek at sportsgeekhq.com/clients.
Thank you very much to Trevor Young there for joining me and have a bit of analysis of the super awesome micro project. And as I said at the start, I thought we might hit 1 million views, and as I'm recording this, we have just ticked over 1 million YouTube views. That noise there tells me to dedicate the episode. This is episode 29 of the Sports Geek podcast. I'm going to dedicate it to SEO's Kevin Bartlett, who wore number 29 with distinction for 403 AFL games for the Richmond Football Club, and I'm sure a few Tiger fans out there would like that dedication. That wraps up another episode of Sports Geek Podcast. For this week's social media post of the week, I can't go past Steve Sammartino at Sammartino with a simple tweet replying to his initial tweet that asked people to invest and help out with the Super Awesome Micro Project. That tweet is in the show notes, sportsgeekhq.com/29. That wraps up the show. I will have as many links as I can in the show notes. Thank you to Sam Laird, who, again, as I was recording this podcast, published on Mashable, so that you can check out the air-powered Lego car on Mashable. So thanks again to Sam for doing the article for us. I'll have links to the Nick Nat Nui video I discussed, and also a few of the other links discussed throughout the episode. Another thing that I will link to, we did have a good chat with Steve and Raoul in the Super Awesome Micro Project cave in the final few days of the build on the Beers, Blokes and Business podcast. So if you want a little bit more backstory and really just understand some of the trials and tribulations of the project, building a Lego car in a cave in Romania over 18 months. Raoul went through some really dark times, and we talk about that, and we also talk about the funding and sort of the ways that we went about promoting it. I'm going to have a full breakdown, most likely after Christmas, when maybe this thing slows down, of all the digital marketing efforts that we put in, some of the changes that we made, just the journey itself. It's been absolutely amazing. So again, if you haven't gone to superawesomemicroproject.com, I'd really appreciate it if you do. Share it with your friends, share it with your kids. Dream big, people. That means it's my time for my final 2 cents, and it's on viral content. If you want something to be viral, it has to be super, it has to be awesome, and you have to embrace your crowd. Cheers.
Please leave a review on iTunes. Go to sportsgeekhq.com/iTunes. Find all Sports Geek podcasts at sportsgeekhq.com/SGP. Sign up for Sports Geek News at sportsgeekhq.com/sign up now. Thanks for listening to the Sports Geek Podcast.